interesting because now it's AI from both sides. On Google and Microsoft side, mostly on Google side, it's AI who decides whether AI can let your email through or not, whether it sounds
Yep.
human or not. And then it's
Right.
on the sender side, it's also AI who's sending those
Right.
emails.
Right.
So it's
Day, GTM AI podcast with Jonathan Moss and Coach K. Tune in now, don't delay. Catch the future on display. In a world of tech.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. It is I, once again, Jonathan Carford, aka Coach K. This is the GTM AI podcast, and today I'm really excited to meet up with a new friend who is the CEO of Folderly, Anastasiia Ivannikov. I'm going to say your name, last name, anyways, but I'm just so excited to have you. How are you?
Hi, Jonathan. I'm good, good. How are you?
I'm really good. I'm so excited to have you on. We connected a little bit earlier before, and there's so many things I want to be able to talk to you about. But you're just a lovely person in general, and just really excited to kind of connect with you. So I just want to say thank you for coming by the pod and hanging out for a second. It's fun.
That's good.
Um,
Thank you.
so what we like to do, and you probably know this already, but what I love to do is to make sure we get to let the audience get to know you as a human being first, before we kind of dive into all the AI shenanigans. So if you don't mind, tell us a little more about you and like your history, your background, anything personal you're okay to share. We'd love to know more about you, and then we'll deep dive in if you're okay with it.
Sure. About me, I started working when I was 14 or 15, something like that. Because when I say that I have this amount of years experience, they're like, when did you start? So yeah, I started really early and I come from Ukraine and that was pretty much natural thing happening there.
Hmm.
Now I live in the US for a couple of years now and yeah, I just got a baby 8 months ago. And there was another crazy thing to do because I joined Folderly when she was 3 weeks old.
Wow.
Yeah.
Congrats. That's amazing.
Thank you. So yeah, I'm just the easiest way to describe me is just sometimes I make crazy decisions and then I just go with the flow.
So your baby is not even a year now.
No, she's not. She's 8 months.
Is she sleeping yet through the night?
Yeah, kind
Kind
of.
of. I had twins and I didn't sleep for the first year.
Oh, twins. That's
So
crazy.
yeah, it was. I mean, I love them to death, and I'm so grateful for them. But literally, I did not sleep. Like, thankfully, we had in-laws come in and help us, so I can relate to the not sleeping thing. So how about that?
Yes, yes, for
Uh,
sure. How old are
uh,
they?
they're five now, which is crazy.
Okay.
So yeah, so thankfully they sleep through the night now.
Yes, yes, that
Um,
was about to say.
so your professional background, I mean, people can see this on your LinkedIn, but you have a sales background, and so
Yes.
you going from like leadership in sales, and then you shifted over to CEO of Photo. Like, tell me the history. Like, why? Not that I mind. I'm just curious. Like, you've been a sales leader forever. What made you
Yeah.
shift over to become the CEO? What's the difference?
Yeah, honestly, I've been using Folderly like forever before joining
Mm-hmm.
Folderly. And
Mm-hmm.
because I realized how important the problem was, because I faced in this problem for so many years and I was trying to solve this problem for my team back then in Macpaw. And Macpaw was and is a unicorn company. So we kind of
Right.
had to take care of our reputation and we needed to reach out to our audiences. So that was important for us back then. So I was loyal to the brand even before I joined Folderly. And then
Yeah.
it just was a coincidence. I opened up my LinkedIn account and was like, Michael, who is the founder, one of the founders of Folderly, and also a good friend of mine. So he posted that they're looking for a CEO for Folderly. And I was like, okay, I'll just write him. And we had a chat, and yeah, it was a match because because of my professional background, I understand the audience. I understand what sort of pains salespeople have. So that's why
Mm-hmm.
it's easier for me to understand what sort of solutions they need. So yeah, I think that's how I ended up here.
That's amazing. I love it. So with Foldly and you being a sales leader before, which is a cool transition, tell me more. I mean, you're obviously the CEO now, but what is the problem that you're solving for, and why is that the thing you became passionate about?
The problem is that every third email ends up in spam.
Hmm.
That means that you're not not you, but companies who are not using any sort of deliverability solution, they're missing a
Hmm.
significant amount of their ROI, significant amount of their revenue if they're not using simple, very simple, yet complicated channel, acquisition channel. So cold outreach is still a very important acquisition channel for most of the teams, especially with AI, and we are about to jump into that. With AI, all of the other acquisition channels became simply very expensive. And for
Yeah.
SMBs, for smaller teams, it became, I don't know, for some reason I muted everything, but for some reason I still hear the sounds.
It's all right. Keep going.
Yeah, I think that's the major problem that your customers cannot see 40% to 50% of your emails. That means that 50% of your audience can never hear about you. That's the major problem out there.
Right. So let me ask you this, because I'm still learning about foldering myself, so I'm just curious. Is that for one-on-one reach outs? So it's like for an AE and SDR, or is it through someone who's using like a MailChimp or a HubSpot and sending out blasts of newsletters, that kind of stuff? Is it for both?
It's kind of for both now because that's the direction where we're heading. Right now, we're covering mostly cold outreach teams. So SDRs, GTM managers, head of sales, so mostly sales teams. But now we realize that the same, not now, this year, we realize that the same
Right.
problem exists for email marketing specialists as well, because they are doing massive outreaches for the opted in
Hmm.
customers of theirs, and they actually also need to be seen. But with them, it's two problems. They either into spam or to promotion tab, which is both of them are inefficient. You need to land it to inbox to be seen. So that's why we're now started covering email marketing teams as well. The mechanism is a little bit different, their needs are a little bit different, but the whole purpose is the same.
Got it. So I'm gonna get a little nitty gritty because like my audience loves some details we like to get to. So, for an example, at my company use Hub. So
Mhm.
if we are able to use Folderly, is it just like an integration? So then the email flows through Folderly to go out from HubSpot, and that's how it goes, or is Folderly become the email marketing location? Does that make sense?
Yeah, makes total sense. So I would say that Folderly is an add-on to your process.
Got
So
it.
we're using tool X for the send out, but we operate on the infrastructure level. So we
Hmm.
operate for cold outreach, we operate on the level of their mailboxes, of their domains. And that basically what we take care
Yeah.
of. For email marketing specialists, would take care of the IP address because that's the major thing for them. Because of their capacities, because of their volumes, it's not enough to operate on the domain or mailbox level, so we need to shift to the IP level. So that's an
Mm.
add-on. You don't need to switch or shift the tool. We just add on to whatever tool you're using.
So, because we have AI SDRs, or you have some sort of mechanism to where some sort of AI does both the research and then reach outs
Yeah.
through Clay, through whatever tool you want to talk about, are you
Mhm.
then using or does Foldly work with those type of tools as well? So it's not just humans that's helping, but it's also AI agents sending out emails?
Yeah, for us it doesn't matter because
Doesn't
we
matter.
work with your infrastructure, so it doesn't matter whether it's a person or AI person kind of wrap. We make sure that your email is warmed up, that your reputation, the tech setup of your domain, and all of the DNS
Hmm.
records are correct. So it's even between you do all of the research before everything you do for the actual outreach, that's where we step in. So when you're ready to do actual, or your AI SDR is ready to do the actual
Nice.
outreach, you're ready to do.
I love it. So here's my question. A lot of people, I'm not saying email is dead. I don't think anyone is, but I do know that people think it's flooded, or for
Yeah.
obvious reasons, because of the ease of use. It's like it's getting hammered. So
Yeah.
and now you have the other side of it where more and more people are using some sort of AI, whether it's fixer or if it's an agent, like whatever, who's actually reading the emails for them and filtering it out. So like,
Yeah.
how do you think about both the channel of email marketing and then not AI sending it out, but AI receiving it and then filtering through for humans? What do you think about all that?
I think email is just a channel, and everybody is predicting that it's going to die every year. And again, because I was in sales for, it feels like forever, every year I hear like all outreach is dead, email is dead. But it's
Mhm.
just a channel. It's just a way to break through to your customers. Now everybody's saying that ads are dead, but basically they're not. They're just changing.
Yeah.
And I was just listening to another podcast about Comet, the new browser from Perplexity. And basically, what they're doing
Right.
is that you can program your browser to avoid any sort of ads. So we can, I might as well say that ads are dead, but they're not. They're just
Yeah.
changing their shape, changing the way they work for both marketers and the customers. Same goes with email. Okay, AI SDRs are reading through your emails, but still you need to land into inbox, right? To for them to be able to read through those emails. And yeah, it's just a channel.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. It's just funny to see how just how things shift or change. It's just it always just amuses me because you never know what's going to happen because people still use email. There's still a purpose and reason why I use email every day. So it's not like I don't read stuff. Tell me this. I'm just curious. What are the things with let's look on email specifically for now, and then I'm going to go into another topic for a second. But with email specifically, obviously there's the whole deliverability thing, which you all do. But do you find what's the data that you see that could help anyone listening who uses email as a channel, whether it's personal or it's
Yeah.
newsletter, that kind of stuff? What are nuggets that help with deliverability or even like open rates that most
Yeah.
people won't know because they're not in the email world? What are the things you can share with the audience?
So I think that first of all, there are two different approaches for email cold outreach in general. There is a mass outreach and there is ABM outreach. And
Hmm.
actually both of them can work if you want them to work because that's people and tools that are behind the process and everything is based on the strategy, how good your strategy is. So the nugget is it's interesting because now it's AI from both sides. On Google and Microsoft side, mostly on Google side, it's AI who decides whether AI can let your email through or not, whether it sounds
Yep.
human or not. And then it's
Right.
on the sender side, it's also AI who's sending those
Right.
emails.
Right.
So it's kind of AI judging AI whether it's a human. That's hilarious. But then
Right.
yeah, but then the major thing is not to sound robotic from all perspectives possible. You need to, right now, your outreach needs to act as a human. So, meaning that you need to use different copy for your outreach. And that's also technology enabled. There is thing called Spintax, which basically changes your some of the words, variations to your words, and that creates variation to your emails. That's how Google sees your emails differently. For instance, you can write, "Hey Anna, hi Anna, good afternoon, good morning," and that creates different variations of your email. So
Mhm.
you're not sending the same single copy to everyone in your database.
Interesting. Interesting.
Then,
Which
yeah,
is funny because pre-AI, that's
yeah,
exactly what you do. Use a template where
yes,
95% of the email, even though sent by a human, it was all templatized. You know what I mean?
yes. That
It's just funny
changed.
to hear that.
Exactly, that changed this May. So Google transferred to AI kind of analysis in May. So that changed, or maybe in April, somewhere in late spring. And that's when it changed. So yeah, now you have to, Spintax is inevitable for the outreach. So is the spacing. So human being
Mm.
cannot send emails every 10 seconds or every minute. So you need to space out your emails in a human way, like 4 minutes, 5 minutes, perfectly. Ideally, you want to space
In
them
a
out.
human way. So you
Yeah,
need
in
an
a human
AI.
way.
You need an
Yeah.
AI to humanize our sending.
Yes. Yes. Exactly.
Awesome. How
And
do you think
also,
that?
yeah.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
And also, everything also comes down to the spam words and stuff like that. But that's something also that you can do with the technology. You want to avoid some spam words, some spam phrases. Again, everything needs to sound as if I knew you forever.
Yeah, what's interesting is that there's I'm an AI nerd, so like I talk about this, I teach this stuff, I all these things just all the time. And I'm always thinking, okay, at some point, AI is going to get smart enough to where it's going to start figuring out these patterns of sending, which
Yeah.
means that obviously on the other side of receiving or writing, AI will be smart enough to know the updates of them detecting it. So it's like this continual game of
Yes.
AI making sure they can detect different things. So AI then has to write different ways. It's just this weird world, which is
Yeah.
kind of funny. But to me, I think I'm reading a lot around from a marketing perspective, really digging into branding and value based and try to create things that are like will pull people to you, that kind of thing. And so a lot of it is like understanding. I'm curious to get your lens on this. It's like in an email, there's all the principles behind like deliverability and all the things you guys do that again, I'm not smart enough to be able to talk about. But there's the other stuff of saying, is there value inside the email itself personally? Because if I send an email out to my ICP and the subject line hits because I know the problems or whatever things that people are talking about. The
Mhm.
value and the content inside of it is actually good. So it's not just promotion, but actually has value in it. There's a nuance in there that requires that depth of awareness around who you're talking to. That
Mhm.
again, no matter what channel you're talking to, but email specifically, it means it can work just fine because you're understanding and talking to the person. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So I'm curious on your thoughts with that. Do you see that are people getting lazy and just getting more in the blasting templatized AI shenanigans, or do you feel like there is actually a place where humans need to be injected into the communication somewhere to have that real life, genuine connection that AI can't replace just through an algorithm?
I think the entire work, especially for now, or at least for now, it has to be a hybrid version where human still is the person who creates a strategy. And that's something that I hate seeing in sales teams when they start using AI brain instead of AI as a tool. For me personally, and that's how I try to navigate my team, is to use AI to challenge themselves. Ask
Yeah.
me questions to understand my ICP deeper, or ask me
Mhm.
questions to understand my value prop deeper or better, or match it to our ICP better. So I think that's a crucial point. The whole process didn't really changed. You still need to do the proper research on your ICP. You need to understand your client journey map. You need to understand your value. You need to correlate your value to your ICP so that sub ICPs they also receive some extra value or extra relevancy or stuff like that. So I think that you still need to invest a lot of time into that, and then you automate the routine part. So the brain has still to belong to human in order, especially for those who are scared to be replaced. The first thing that you need to do is to make sure that you're still in control and that you're still using your brain instead of AI brain.
Yeah, it's a good question. I find the same thing when I'm teaching about AI. It's like there's the part of AI that can help you with like content creation or whatever you want to do faster. Make me
Mhm.
a email, make me a thing, like whatever. But then there is this whole other side of making it this thinking partner that I don't see a lot of people doing a whole lot because it's just they think about more of an execution thing, which is great. But like I realized the other day, half of the things I do in AI are me thinking through whatever, just thinking like, how about this? And it doesn't mean that I take AI's word for it. It's just a thinking partner. It's kind of like you and I, if we got together to start jam and saying, hey, tell me what you think about this topic. You tell me your thoughts. I may not accept your thoughts, but at least it's a different angle that I never thought of before. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? I find the same thing with AI of just saying, okay, I want you to challenge me. Tell me why I'm wrong. What else should I be thinking about? And then it brings up stuff you're like, oh, I never thought about that before. So it's
yeah,
really powerful.
exactly, exactly. Plus, I think that if you're using only one LLM, let's say ChatGPT, because most of the people use ChatGPT, I think that first of all you're getting biased because first of all ChatGPT hallucinates a lot still. Second of all, it's programmed to be very friendly, very nice, to accept every single idea that you're sharing. I
Right.
even saw this. I'm not sure if you saw that, but that's hilarious. This episode from South Park about ChatGPT, or yeah, did you see?
Yes. Yes. Yeah, it's
That's
so funny.
exactly what I'm talking about because that's, oh, how wonderful your idea is, even if their idea is horrible. So I think that's the best thing here is to use a couple of LLMs to not to become biased and not to go ahead and use the worst idea ever.
Wow, yeah. I did see that episode. It's freaking hilarious. So, if someone's listening and had not seen it, I highly recommend it because it's really
Yeah.
funny. Tell me this for Foldly specifically, do you see yourself or you see your world going into social media inboxes or to any other places or channels? Like, where do you see the future going as far as channels for Foldly?
So my personal goal for, especially for this year, was to make sure that we understand email as a channel perfectly, because that's the channel where our customers live, or the
Right.
channel that they use to generate their own money. So we need to be pros at email channel to make sure that we can contribute to their success. If they come to us and say, "Oh, our channel doesn't work," we can break down everything that's happening for them and see, okay, that doesn't work because you're doing that or this. So for us now, we're using a cold email as a prior, as a major acquisition channel.
Mm.
But I strongly believe in outbound and I strongly believe in multi-channel outreach. So the more channels, the
Mhm.
more touches that you're doing. And that's a funny thing because a couple of days ago I had a conversation with the marketing some company and she was saying that a couple of years ago we needed, let's say, 5 steps to convert the new customer. Now it's about 17 step. So I think
Right.
that's where it's heading because it's going to be harder and harder to define what sort of channels people are using because some of the channels will be used by AI. And still, I think that a lot of that is something that we hypothesize on. But let's assume that people will transfer some of the social media channels or some of the channels to AI or simply mute some of the channels. We just need to make sure that we break through that. So the more we use, the more successful
Totally.
we become.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think people really rely on obviously connections and stuff like that, But I also like I know you know some marketing world, but like it used to be that you have to have 7 impressions of a brand before some sort of action was taken. Now it's 20 or something like that. It's insanely higher.
Yeah.
But still, it's if you think about if that was true, let's just say it is true for a second. And email is one of the places they have this interaction or impression of the brand. Let's just say they get impression from that 4 or 5 times from an email. Then it's from LinkedIn,
Mhm.
it's from an advertisement, it's from a podcast, and where else you might be going from. Like email then becomes a core function or part of that awareness play so that it gets enough triggers so they can actually do
Yep.
something about it. Because I'm reading this book right now, which is fascinating, which talks about how much stuff, because of our phones and because of all the apps we're using now, we get blasted with 5 times as many ads as we've done in the past
Yeah.
before. And so, like, we're starting to tune out advertising. So it's like you have to use whatever channels you have at your disposal to make sure you can reach your ICP because otherwise it's just forgot because of the sheer noise and level of stuff going on. You know what I mean? It's
Yes.
crazy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Totally agree.
Yeah.
And
It's crazy.
maybe the game is also different for B2C and B2B because for B2C, advertisement is still more efficient through Instagram, TikTok, and other social media channels. But for B2B, it's less efficient. So LinkedIn is still one of the best social channel to interact. Some people use Reddit, some people use other platforms less familiar to the crowd, but still all of those are channels. And I think that offline is still very efficient, especially now that everything is
Yes.
back from post-COVID times. So offline is the most efficient channel for me personally, because that's exactly where you can build those connections.
When you say offline, you mean like events, that kind of stuff? Or what do I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't that funny? I think that I have a couple people tell me the same thing. It's like the offline stuff, there's the physical goods, the physical products are coming back like an actual postcard or like a magazine.
Yeah.
The stuff that no one, we got so sick of, and now we're like coming back to the old world.
Yeah.
And then just events. Like I've been saying this for a long time, but I feel like that if my writing, my voice, my avatar, everything on me digitally can be replicated, then that means that me in person is going to be more valuable because it's the only way that people can trust it's actually me. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And not just some AI something. You know what I mean? It's crazy.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus,
Um,
people get bored a little bit from the AIification. Now I can
mm,
easily detect not only by those symbols like M dash or stuff, and I got triggered by M dash a lot. But even the tone of voice, when
yeah.
I see the word fluff, I know for sure that this was written by ChatGPT because fluff is
Because no
literally
one says
his
that.
favorite word.
I know
Yeah.
it's so funny. No one ever says that. I'm like, who says fluff? I
Yeah.
mean, sometimes I'll be honest. Sometimes I actually do use fluff, and sometimes in the past I actually used to use M dashes before AI. But like
Yes.
after AI, I'm like, I don't use it anymore. You know what I mean? So because it's
Yes.
just people think that's an AI. I'm like, no, it's me. I'm the one using an M dash. So it's kind of funny.
Yes.
Tell me this. I will two more questions, but one is, what are you excited about as far as moving forward, both with Folderly, with AI specifically? What are you excited about that's coming that you're like just geeking out about? And then I'll ask you a second question in a second.
I think that the most exciting for me that's happening is first of all you can automate and you can optimize your whole operations so much that you don't need this great big team anymore. You can do the same things efficiently with the smaller team, and that's just easier from the operational perspective because you don't need to create this gigantic enterprise to do the same thing. And
Right.
that's something that exciting for me personally because it's just easier to run a team or a company. Another thing is absolutely the way how people get used to do things. So now it's inevitable to have some kind of AI agent within your tool to make it easier for people to use your tool. Nobody is going
Mhm.
to waste their time to understand, okay, this button does that. Everybody wants a simplification as simple as possible. And that's something that is both exciting and challenging because some of the products are complicated at their core, and that's transformative for some of the products. For instance, some CRM systems, they're complicated by default, and AIification is inevitable, but it's very interesting in this space. And also, it's just about the speed.
Yeah.
Previously, you needed a year or a couple of years to create just an MVP. Now you can create it in a week and test out the market and understand the demand, the supply,
Mhm.
everything on the market. And you can do it in a week and make decisions based on that. You don't need years anymore.
Which is crazy. That's the part that blows my mind a little bit. Is I don't think people understand how impactful that is just the time. Because it was back when 4.1, I think it was, when 4.1 came out 6, 7 months ago with OpenAI. And Sam Altman did this presentation. Maybe it was the chief legal officer of OpenAI. I can't remember what it was. But
Mhm.
anyways,
Yeah.
they had AI write the legal brief on
Mhm.
something. And the legal guy was like, this is as good as a paralegal would write for me in about 10 hours. It just
Yeah.
did it in 5 minutes. So this whole
Yes.
concept around time value of people creating things is gonna all it's all screwed up now because people are like, so what is the value? So the question is, I'm curious your thoughts on this. In the circumstance of, let's say, a legal brief or a good email or whatever the case is, you'd still want to have a human double check the legal brief. But if
Yes.
let's just say they go through and they double check it and they fix 3 words out of 1,000, right? So it's not like they're even changing much. Those 3 words are important for whatever reason.
Yeah.
What is the value then of a human? So even though the time doesn't take a lot of time, but it still takes their expertise. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Like, how do you dictate or determine value in that case?
Value of humans or value of AI or
The
value of both?
both, both,
Both.
yeah, both.
I think that still it's very important to understand that AI hallucinates a lot. And because we built a couple of
Mhm.
tools using AI, you need to invest so much time into training it right, and you need to iterate that too. So you build this MVP version one and you test it out on your either clients or your team or whatever, your friends, relatives, whatever. And then you iterate, you fix everything that was hallucinated or that was broken. And then you
Mhm.
also rely on the versions of AI or of the models.
The
So
models, right?
whenever any update comes in, then you need to recheck your product because those changes also influence the way your product works. So that's one thing. Another thing, yesterday I didn't have to create the agreement, but I needed a solution fast. And my legal team was occupied with some other tasks, but I needed that yesterday. And that was an agreement that we didn't have before, so that was something that we had to create from scratch. So I
Right.
went ahead and I put all of the requirements into the LLM and I described in detail. And that's another important thing to understand how to prompt correctly, because write me an email is not enough.
Trust me, I teach prompting it for a living, so I definitely understand like that's part of the challenge. Like I do think, genuinely speaking, that AI is getting better and better at making mediocre prompts better results. However, I also know that when you prompt it really well with the newer models, it just makes the response that much better. So even though your
Yes,
lazy prompts are doing better, and I think they will continue to do better, it's still not quite to the level where it needs to be with you prompted better. So
exactly.
I'm looking forward to the world where we have each kind of like a Jarvis level assistant. I can just talk about things like, hey, Jarvis, make me an email about this thing in my tone and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And he can take care of it all. But that world, like when you think about it, kind of goes back to the concept we talked about before of a thinking partner, because Jarvis was a thinking partner to Tony Stark. He wasn't just an executor. He was, but he wasn't. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I'll look
Yeah.
forward to that. One last
Yeah.
question. What is you on a day-to-day basis, besides ChatGPT or Claude or the main LLMs,
Yeah.
what is your AI tool of choice?
I like Gamma a lot.
Ah, yeah.
That's for creating presentations and different materials. And I think the same feature also was created by Notion, so they added some AI feature to them as well. I like
Mhm.
Midjourney. So basically what I like
Oh,
is
I
to
love Midjourney.
to create workflows from different AI tools to orchestrate those tools. I have, let's say, a task to create some content.
Yeah.
I pick up those tools to create this content. So that's Midjourney. There are a couple of tools for video editing. I unfortunately don't remember all of their names. There is Opus for creating shorter videos.
Clips. Yep.
Clips, yes.
There's Descript. Use Descript at all?
Script, yes,
Yeah.
yes, that's one of the tools. Also, there is another cool tool for creating LinkedIn content. So it analyzes your tone of voice, it analyzes your knowledge base,
Is
and
it Stanley?
yes, yes.
I love Stanley's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a cool tool. Obviously, I use Clay a lot. I love 8 and 8 or N8N. That's a
N8N.
I always confuse the name, but the tool is amazing. We built internal
Yeah.
tool for outbound through 8 and 8.
Nice.
That was like the easiest thing to do. Then it's Make, also another configuration platform. So there are a bunch of tools. I think I use on a daily basis. I use about 20 of them. It's just that
You sound like me. I use 30 or 50. It depends on the day. You use all sorts of stuff. Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
That's cool.
And also
Well,
Trigify, another sales tool. So mostly I
oh
use
yeah.
sales tools or some operational tools.
I love it. I love it. Trigify is a really cool tool, so I love that. Anastasia, thank you so much. Like, I'm super excited. If people want to find you, obviously, it's folderly.com.
Yes,
And are you okay if I share your LinkedIn URL? Is that
of
okay? Okay,
course.
cool.
We'll be happy to
I'll make
connect.
sure. Yeah, good. I'll make sure that, so it's in the show notes, and I'll make sure people know, obviously, it's folderly.com. And then just want to tell you, thank you so much. Really excited to just talk to you and appreciate you.
Yeah, appreciate your time, Jonathan. Thanks for having me.
You are amazing. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the GTM AI podcast. Please follow, subscribe, like, comment, and come back for more.